Trust hope.
She all keeps us on. She keeps us all. She gonna be the mom.
How about that? You giving this to me? You can. This is mine. I'm not hungry. Thank you. Thank you. Not only that, I've never seen them at a meeting. I have been complaining about sidewalks.
Good evening, everyone. If everyone can take their seats, please.
Services that I've been paying for 38 years that I can't get. How about that? Sit down here.
All right, if everyone can take their seats. We're going to go ahead and get started. We have some additional candidates. They're going to introduce themselves. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Emerging Leaders of DeSoto annual candidate debate. My name is Kay Brown Patrick, and I'm so grateful that you all were able to join us tonight. Thank you all for being here. I want to briefly mention, if you do not already, please follow the Emerging Leaders of DeSoto. The "the" is very important, and follow us for all of our events. We're going to jump right into, I had a whole introduction, but I'm going to skip that because we have some additional candidates that we're going to introduce today. But before we begin, we are going to open up with prayer. Pastor Chris Henderson, who is the lead pastor and teacher from Star of Hope Baptist Church, is going to open us up in prayer.
Would you bow your heads with me, please? Our Father who art in heaven, most holy is your name. Lord, no matter where we are, sanctuary in the city and the streets are yours. No matter where we are the church. And so because of that, God, we ask that your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We want to thank you specifically for our city. I thank you personally and I thank you publicly for what the city of DeSoto means to us. I thank you, Lord, for everyone who is following your spirit to lead this city in the right direction. So we pray, Holy Spirit, that you would infuse them with your wisdom, infuse them with your strength, infuse them, Lord, with the guidance that is necessary to take us from where we are to where you would have us to be. I thank you, Lord, because in all things you are God. In all things, in deficits or in surplus, you are still God. No matter what's going on in our lives or in this city, you are still God. And you sit high, look low, and you are in control. So, Lord, we give this moment, we give this city, we give our leaders, all of it, Lord. We trust it to you and say, we're going to trust you, Lord, so that your will would be done in our lives. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for being in this place. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Henderson, for that powerful prayers. We want to take the time now to recognize some of our guests that are here today, our former current elected officials. So Dr. Dinah Marks, the Honorable Dr. Dinah Marks, DeSoto City Council. The former DeSoto City Council, the Honorable Nicole Raphael. We have Constable Deanna Hammond. That's here. And then Ball Springs City Council Place 2, the Honorable Tartisha Hill. And then we had some candidates that signed in for the general election as well. We're going to allow them to introduce themselves. So this portion is the candidate introduction for those that are going to be in the runoff coming up, as well as there will be some introductions for the general election. So I'm really bad with names. So I'm going to call Will Campbell, Jayla Godbolt, Mike Emerly, and Corsandra Phelps up to allow you to introduce yourselves.
All right, hello everybody. My name is Will Campbell, and I am your Republican candidate for HD 109 for the Texas House of Representatives. So that covers basically south of 20, minus Duncanville, from Cedar Hill to Seagoville, right, to the southern border of Dallas County. All right, so what I am running for is, one, I want to bring the power and responsibility over cities back to you, the people. Get the state out of our business, get the state out of our affairs, get the state out of just our hair, right? We want to have the ability to have control over our cities. I want parents to have control over the schools and to have a say in the things that go on in those schools and be the ones with the authority on that, right? I also want to make sure that cities are more accountable to their citizens, right? And make sure that you, as the citizens of each of your respective cities, can take care of your own affairs here in your own hometown. The only place where the state comes into play is whenever something's wrong and you need to have good, righteous power come in from the outside to help you get things under control should that ever occur. But other than that, it's your city. It needs to be done the way you want it to be done. All right? I live just down the road over here in Cedar Hill. A couple years ago, I ran for school board. I know the importance of our public schools. I want to make sure that they are properly funded, but in a way that is controlled by the populations that get taxed by them, right? I want to make sure that it's transparent, it's open, they're properly managed, and make sure that that gets reinforced. But a big part of that is freedom of education. It's making sure that everybody has the ability to choose the places that they want to go. That includes public education. That includes our ISDs. That doesn't mean defunding them. That doesn't mean taking money away from them. That means making sure they have proper funding, but that everybody has the money that they need to be able to send their kids to the schools that they want to go. Right? From there, I want to have freedom of business. I want to bring about legislation that improves business here in the state. I've been trying to start up a business here recently. I had one a little while ago as a general contractor for a little bit, doing remodels and renovations. And I was trying to start up another business out of my home. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the city of occupancy out of Grand Prairie. I'm on that side of Lake Ridge. That's kind of under Grand Prairie for whatever reason. That's obnoxious. That's absurd. If I'm going to have a no nuisance business, I want to run from my home, I'm a consultant, I should be able to start that up without having to go get a certificate of occupancy. So there's been law that's been passed recently. I want to improve upon that, build upon that, because even with that law enforced, they're telling me I can't start a business out of my home. That's absurd. That's nuts. So, that's not? All right, guys. So again, Will Campbell, ForTexas.com, HD 109, Texas House. Thank you so very much for your time.
How about that for an introduction? Put it out my ear. Hi, I'm Mike Gimler. I'm running for Dallas County Judge against Mr. Clay Jenkins. The reason I'm running is I'm a family man. I've lived in Duncanville for the last 40 years. I'm part of Southwest Dallas, and I am kind of disappointed with the treatment that we get here in the southwest part of the county. But I look around and I say, what else could we do to make things better? There's been 14 years of Clay running for the county. And if you don't know what a county judge does, a county judge is like the CEO of the county. They don't sit and adjudicate facts, to hear lawyers argue this, that, and the other. They run the county like a business, or they're supposed to anyway. But a couple of years ago, Clay said that Dallas County is a mess. And I'm wondering, as a CEO, when you tell me that the county that you're responsible for is a mess, if I was in business, I would probably say that I want to replace that CEO, and I would go to the board of directors. And the board of directors is the folks in this room. So I'm asking you to look at your CEO and think about a change. I have a 30-year Air Force career. I retired as a colonel, an attorney in the Air Force. I was the deputy CEO at the Army and Air Force Exchange Service right up the road here. Run an $8 billion a year company. I know how to run a large organization, a complex organization with a lot of issues. So I ask for you to look at my website, MikeForDallas.com. Think about the change that's needed here in Dallas County to make us all better. I want to lower your taxes, I want to reduce your crime, and I want to promote small business. We can do that by making everybody's lives a whole lot better. Again, I'm Mike Gimler, running for Dallas County Judge. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jayla Godbold, and I'm running for Justice of the Peace Judge 1-2 against Ms. Valencia Nash. I want to become a judge to serve District 1. District 1 covers the areas all the way from Live Oak and downtown, all the way to Seagull Hill, so it's a very big district. The main reason why I want to become your judge is because I know that there's a need for change. There's a need for a person that's in touch with the community to go and represent and help the community. And I have poster flyers that I'm giving everybody, and if you are interested or have any questions, I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Corsandra Phelps, and you can find me at Phelps Helps Dallas. Easy to remember, Phelps Helps Dallas. And the reason that I'm running for Dallas County Treasurer is because your voice needs to be heard downtown. Anybody agree with that? Okay, well, I have a background in financial services. I've worked all my working life, almost 40 years, in banking with Bank of America. Some of y'all remember the old savings and loans. I was in the savings and loan era. That's old, I know. But I worked through there. And so I want to be your next Dallas County treasurer because we need transparency downtown Dallas. I don't know how many of you know, but I'll ask you, did you know that your taxpayer dollars was sent out on an erroneous, bogus email to the tune of $2.5 million sent to somebody just defrauded the county? That's your money. I want to be your watchdog downtown so that kind of thing does not happen anymore. Okay? I want to be the one that makes it very transparent, give you access to digital boards that you can see every dollar that is to be accounted for at the county level. So again, remember to vote in November. Phelps helps Dallas. Corsandra Phelps for Dallas County Treasurer.
All right, now we are going to get into our runoff candidates. And we are going to start off with District Judge 194th Judicial District. We're going to start off with Ms. Peggy Hoffman.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Peggy Hoffman. Thank you all so much for having this and allowing us to introduce ourselves. I am currently the Judge of County Criminal Court number 9, and I have been in that position for the last 20 years. I've been elected 5 times, and I decided about a year and a half ago that I wasn't going to seek re-election and that I would retire from that court. Judge White of the 194th Judicial District Court, which is a felony court, is retiring from his court as well, so it's an open seat. And I decided to continue my service to Dallas County by running for that bench and trying to be the judge of that felony court. So it is a felony district court that hears serious homicide cases, multiple defendant, multiple victim homicide cases. It hears serious child abuse cases and drug cases. Before I became a misdemeanor judge, I spent 13 years trying those cases in those district courts. I've tried, obviously, the Child Abuse Division in the Dallas County District Attorney's Office, where I prosecuted those cases. Then I went to New York City for a couple of years, and I was a prosecutor in the Brooklyn DA's office, where I was in the homicide bureau for a couple of years and prosecuted homicides up in Brooklyn. I decided to come home to Dallas, and it's my hometown, and I was a criminal defense attorney for many years, where I defended people who were charged with those serious cases. I was in the courtroom trying those cases. I'm board certified in criminal law. What that means is I took an extra test. First of all, I was qualified to take the test. You have to show that you've tried so many cases. And then I took the test and passed the test in 2006. As a judge of County Criminal Court number 9, I started a drug divert court for prostitutes to help them get out of the criminal justice system. I ran that court for 10 years. It was called Pride Court. And I helped many people get out of that lifestyle, give them the counseling they needed for their past trauma, get them the mental health medicine that they needed, and get them off their substance. And it reunited many people with their families and their children. So we have many success stories. This court has a specialty divert court too, where it helps people who are on probation to stay out of the penitentiary and help them stay on track. And I'll continue that. Thank you so much, Peggy Hoffman, for the 194.
Next up, we have Ms. Kim Crooks.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having us here for this forum. I'm Judge Kim Cooks, and I'm running for the 194th Criminal District Court. It is a felony court here in Dallas County, and it is an open seat. So when we talk about felony court, it's the highest trial court in the state of Texas. I've been a state district court judge for the past 11 years, an attorney for 24 years, and 13 of those years before I took the bench, I was a criminal defense attorney as well as a family attorney. So as a state district court judge, 8 of those years, I was in family court. In the past 3, I've been in criminal court, in felony criminal court. I'm currently assigned to the 282nd Criminal District Court, which is the same exact court as the 194th court, just on a different floor. 194th is on the 7th floor of Frank Crowley Building, and the 282nd is on the 5th floor. So what's important when we talk about criminal court, these are serious offenses. And you need someone who's qualified, you need someone who has actually been a felony district court judge, and someone who understands the community, someone who is involved in the community, who shows up for the community, who doesn't show up after you see the numbers of the primary to ask for your vote. I've always been in the community, and I'm asking for your vote again for the 194th Criminal District Court. Early voting begins May 18th through May 22nd, so I'm asking you to go early vote so we don't have any problems like we did in the primary. And the first name that you see will be Judge Kim Cooks. And say, Kim Cooks, just check that name. And thank you. I'm asking for your vote, Judge Kim Cooks, 194th Criminal Court. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Kim. All right, Criminal District Court number 5, you're up next. We're going to start with Maureen Alexander. I'll give Maureen a round of applause. Oh, there's a title. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sindhu Maureen Alexander. You'll see me on the ballot as Maureen Alexander. Oh, sorry. Maureen is my middle name. I was named after my grandmother. I'm number 1 on the ballot for Criminal District Court number 5. And as both the previous candidates said, a criminal district court is a felony court. It hears the most serious of cases. And so you hear everything all the way up to a theft case, all the way up to capital murder cases. And what's important in these trial courts is you have someone with experience, someone who has stood with their clients, whether your client is the state of Texas or your client is the citizen accused. You need someone who has had the experience and stood there asking for justice for whatever side you're on. I was at the Criminal District Attorney's Office for a few years, but for the last 25 years, I've had my own practice. I do criminal defense in Dallas County and surrounding counties. I've practiced in both state and federal court. I'm the only candidate in this race that has 27 years of experience in criminal law. I'm the only candidate in this race that's board certified in criminal law. When you go to a doctor, oftentimes we're looking for a board certified doctor. It's the same thing in the legal field. I'm also the only candidate with extensive trial experience. I have well over 150 jury trials, felony jury trials. So when you think about what a felony court is, experience matters because these are people's lives that are at stake. Whatever side you're sitting on, it's the worst day of that person's life, whether you're the victim or the citizen accused. And so you need someone who has been in both of those positions, advocated for both of those positions, and has the qualifications. And I am that candidate. I ask for your vote. Maureen Alexander. It's alexanderforjudge.com. I have some information back there with my website and pamphlets, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks so much for having me. Ms. Lakeisha Smith.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lakeisha Smith, and I am running for Criminal District Court number 5. And Cindy is my opponent in that case, and I agree with her. You do need experience, and I do have that experience. So let me tell you how I've been working for you pretty much my entire legal career. I've dedicated my legal career to public service here in Dallas County. I started out as a public defender where I handled everything from low-level misdemeanors all the way to felonies, and that's including murders. Then I went over to the DA's office where I worked under 4 different administrations. Craig Watkins hired me, and I left under Crusoe. And from there, I went into private practice where I did represent defendants accused of the most serious offenses you all can think of, including capital murder. From there, I went back to the the Sheriff's Department, the county, where I was the legal advisor to our Dallas County Sheriff. I resigned that job to run for judge. So it is very important that we elect somebody who not only has experience, but has a dedication to public service. We're looking for a public servant. okay? We're looking for someone who has the heart to serve. We don't want just anybody on the bench, okay? We want someone who's been in the courtroom, and that has been me. I've tried everything to verdict, from low-level felonies all the way to capital murder. I am no stranger to trials. Okay? Now, let's get the white elephant out of the room really quick. I look like I'm 12 years old. Hopefully, y'all have calculated that I can't be 12 years old if I have that much experience. Now, a lady doesn't normally share her age, so I'm not going to share my age. But I have a 26-year-old daughter, so you all can do the math, okay? So with that being said, I do have signs in the back. I would love for you all to come in to the back, meet me, ask me questions about my experience, because I know y'all are not going to remember anything past what I said at this point. Come get a sign, come get some literature, and please tell at least 4 or 5 friends to vote for Lakeisha Smith. Early voting starts May 18th, and I look forward to serving you all as your next judge. Thank you.
Our next race is Dallas County Clerk.
Thank you. First of all, thank y'all. Thank you for putting this together to our former council members for doing this. This is an organization, it's a very good program to put together. I know DeSoto has a lot of pressing issues, and it's good to see people still active and engaged. First of all, my name is DeMarcus Alford. I'm running for Dallas County Clerk. I'm number 2 on the ballot. I grew up in South Dallas Fair Park. I started my career at the district clerk's office, civil foul desk, while I worked in the magistrate court. From there, I worked in the juvenile department for 7 years. From there, I went on to work in the mayor and city council department in the city of Dallas. And when I left there, I went to go work for Congresswoman Ada Bernice Johnson for almost 5 terms, up until she transitioned. And now I'm at DART, where I lead state relations for DART. DART has about 3,000 employees. I advise the CEO, her executive leadership team on public policy matters, and I help do our strategy and legislative issues as it relates to public policy at DART. One of the reasons why I'm running, Mr. Warren is decided not to seek re-election. He's retired, so he's also endorsed this campaign. But the main thing for me, endorsements are great, but the most important endorsement is endorsement of the people. I live in Glen Heights, my kids go to public school. I think that it's very important that we have an office that's successful, that understands technology, that also understands how to service the community. And one of the things I've always said, if an applicable with the Dallas County laws, then I want to start a community engagement office. So one, that we're out educating the general public on why this office is important, the services that we provide, and some of the things that you could be using in this office. Because one thing about it, we don't ever need an office, we never know what that office actually do until we actually need it. And so we want to prevent those things from actually happening, but making sure that you're educated and abreast on those office happenings. And I think that the county clerk is a very critical election, but the most important thing lastly is May 18th through the 22nd is a Democratic primary runoff early voting. May 26th is election day. So make sure that you vote May 18th through May 22nd before the holiday. So thank you for your time. God bless.
JP precinct, number 1, place 1. Start with Thomas Jones.
Good evening. Good evening. And I've been instructed to move over here. I am Thomas G. Jones. I am the judge and the justice of the peace court in precinct 1, place 1. I want to thank each of you for coming out so we can meet one another and talk with each other. But I want to be brief. We have the largest precinct in Dallas County, but it's not just about numbers, it's about people. I want to tell you a little bit about me. And I grew up in Dallas, one of the richest cities, but I grew up in the poorest part. I grew up in an area called Roosevelt Heights. Some of you may have heard of it, that when a major rain would come, they would flood us out. And I lived in a city where my mom and my dad, they paid taxes, but we did not have indoor plumbing. Our, for lack of a better term, our toilet was a little house outside the big house. And when we rode that bus to Joseph J. Rhodes every day, other students stood there and they laughed at us. Because how could we live in conditions like that? I'm telling you all of that because though that type of livelihood gave me the courage that I need, where I could work to help somebody else. It may surprise you that by standing here, even as I talk, I look back on those days when I was at J. Rose, and I had a speech impediment, and I stammered real bad when I talk. And they wanted to put me in special ed, but there was one teacher, Mr. Clifford Jackson, told Dr. Caesar Francis Toad, don't do that. That boy can do the work, he just can't talk.
Time.
Time? Be obedient.
It was just getting good. Good,
Next one have
Did she step out? She did? Okay. Well, last but not least, we're gonna, we have our congressional, District 30, runoff candidate, Mr. Everett Jackson.
Want me to go to the middle? Okay. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we all shall rejoice and be glad in it. Ladies and gentlemen of DeSoto, good evening. God wanted the state of Texas to see what hard work and sacrifice looks like, so he created the city of DeSoto. And I truly believe that. But I'm Everett Jackson, and I'm running to be the next congressman of TX30. And my why is bigger than anything that is material. In TX30, I was born here. In TX30, I was raised here. In TX30, I presently reside here. My first puppy love was in TX30. My first heartbreak was in TX30. My first job was in TX30. But unfortunately, I have bad news for those of us who are residents of TX30. TX30 has been performing very poorly over the past 2 to 3 decades. We are ranked 32nd of 38 congressional districts. Ladies and gentlemen, to put that in layman's terms, that's an F minus. You are 3 times more likely to be a victim of violent crime in TX30 than our adjacent congressional districts. Do you feel safe? Do you want to have to carry your 45 Glock to go to Costco? Do you want to have to carry your 9mm to go to Murphy, USA to fill up? Well, that's the predicament we're in TX30 right now. Our median income is only $34,000 a year, $10,000 less than the adjacent congressional districts. Are you all happy and satisfied with that? Your property value is $40,000 less than those property values that is of the same square footage and same allotment of land than those who are adjacent to us in TX30. Are you happy with that? But let me tell you why this is. Because of crime and lack of infrastructure. Leadership as a congressman.
I said you have 6 minutes until it's time for you to come up.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, go to jacksonfortexas.com. There is so much more to share with you guys. DeSoto, love you. Give her a raise. She is on time.
I second that. That is our State Board of Education, Dr. Tiffany Clark, who came in after I made my introduction. Well, now we are going to transition, and we are right on time. It's 7 o'clock. We're going to transition into our debate portion of our evening. If our moderators can join me. And while they do so, Ms. Bonseal Hill, former Dallas City Councilwoman, is here as well.
Yo.
All right. Well, tonight's debate is going to be moderated by Carl O. Sherman Sr., former mayor of DeSoto, first black mayor of DeSoto, may I add, and former state representative. And alongside him is his co-moderator, is Ajua Mason, Dallas County Republican Party leader and advocate. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming out and welcoming us into the city of DeSoto. I'm so happy to be a part of this gathering. Like she said, I'm with the Dallas County Republican Party, but just because there's a party line, it don't mean that we don't share the same values and have commonality. And I truly believe that we should take a look at the policies, the values, and the positions before we look at party lines. So, thank you guys.
It's great to join you this evening as we engage the citizens of DeSoto for some conversation about politics and where we are today. Certainly, we know the game of politics today seems to be simply that people identify the issues and then they amplify your frustrations. Oh, okay. And then they amplify your frustrations, becoming the animation of your frustration, and nothing gets done. Everything Republicans do is not wrong. Everything Democrats do is not right. So we are here to discuss intellectually the issues. So I will stop there. I know we have a script, and I'm going to do my utmost to comply with the script roughly. So, joining us tonight,
We're gonna follow the script. We might get a little off script if y'all don't mind. All right. Good evening, DeSoto. We will begin this evening with our school board race place 5. Dr. Fleming, can you join us, please? All right, y'all give her a hand.
joining us tonight is Dr. Deandra Fleming, who is running against incumbent Abe Cooper. Mr. Cooper is not in attendance, so this portion will proceed as a Q&A with Dr. Fleming. All questions were submitted by the DeSoto residents for both candidates. Any questions we are unable to get to this evening will be shared with both candidates, along with an opportunity to follow up directly with the residents who submitted them, including those intended for Dr. Cooper or Mr. Cooper. Let us begin. We have one doctor here, so Dr. Fleming.
All right, so school board responses are 2 minutes per question. We have our timer and she will count us down. So let's begin. All right, Ms. Fleming. Many individuals are concerned since a large portion of our tax dollars are dedicated to schools. What are your plans to improve public perception and increase student population with more competition with the voucher program?
So let's say this. Good evening. When we're looking at the situation that the district is in, the first thing is how do we finance what we want? And so if you've been watching, you know that we are now in a $19 million deficit. And so when you ask how do we increase the outcomes for students, that means we have to cut something that could potentially affect the students. And so I'm running again because I led in 2018 when we first had to shut down because of a financial crisis, which was $21 million. And as we sat there, we had to close schools. We had to lay off 200 teachers. And so even though it was hard, it was probably the most difficult thing I had to do, it was necessary because that was the only way we could stay afloat. So when you ask about the student populations and how do we increase these outcomes for our students, we had to make sure that we were addressing the bottom line, and that was through a framework. That we had to set goals that were intentional from the community. We had to hear from the community in voice and choice, and we had to take that and put it into action. We had to look at the data and hold the superintendent accountable to making sure the superintendent was creating those student population outcomes or creating more outcomes for our students, because the board doesn't do day to day. We allow the superintendent by the how, and that was by their how and our what's. And that was to improve outcomes in reading and in math and make sure that our kids were college and career military ready. And so I will do that again.
Dr. Fleming, hear your passion. What specific steps would you take the first 90 days to address this deficit issue?
So the first 90 days, thank you for the question. We have a conservator now. We've always had a conservator, but there was a financial conservator that was sent by TEA. That first financial conservator that was appointed before I left was the reason that we should not have been in this situation. However, we are. So now we've been appointed a new financial conservator who has really been vetting out how did we get here. And how, meaning what happened in the finances. When you're asking my first 90 days as a board member, my how is how did we get here as a board? How did we stop watching? How did we stop asking? How did we not know? Because we knew when we were in 21 million, so how did we not know? How did we not look at the previous audits? So I would go back to what we've done before. What was it that we expected and did we inspected? And so I would ask those questions about what happens with our $35 million is what was budgeted before I left the board. But this year, for staff, $35 million for staff, and now this year is projected at $55 million for staff. It was 6,500 students when I left, and now we're at 4,800. So the question you ask, how did we get here? Because we over budgeted, and we did not account for losing students in our district. So in the first 90 days, I will make sure that I'm clear as to what I'm asking, being transparent with you of how we got here, and working with the superintendent and the board to make sure that we are focused on student outcomes and fiscal responsibility.
Dr. Fleming, in your voter's guide, does that comport with the answer that you provided? Oh, well, I guess it will be no good for you either. So, in your voter's guide, you laid out the first 90 days. Does that align with what you indicated in the voter's guide?
Yes, going back to, so we use Lone Star governance, and so those questions were asked. We have 2 board meetings a month, and so that was by design that the first meeting would be focused on improving student outcomes. So we only talked about student data. We celebrated students, we celebrated teachers in this board meeting, and we made sure that we were asking not those technical questions, but the tactical questions of the superintendent of how did we get here and what would be done. The second part of that is the second board meeting of the month, which was our data meeting. Not our data meeting, but our business meeting. And so in the business meeting is where we were looking at what? Our finances. We were voting on contractors. And how are we approving contractors without, we should have outcome focused measurements and objectives for our contractors. They should be contributing to our community. They should be giving back in our community. So why are we approving people who can't give us what we need in our community? So in the alignment of that, it does align to how do we get here? What do we do next? Go back to governance, go back to the conversations, and go back to transparency.
Thank you.
All right, that's awesome. Okay. So we have a DeSoto resident that would like to know, Hispanic students make up a significant portion of our district, yet disparities still exist in academic performance, parent engagement, and access to advanced programs. What specific actions will you take to close these gaps, ensuring cultural and linguistic, can't say that word, linguistic, okay. Just to see in there. Okay. Responsive support for families, and how will you measure success beyond test scores?
So The first thing, if you want parents to be engaged, you have to provide the access. One of the things that we were diligent in doing was making sure that the communication in writing and correspondence went out, and it made sure that it addressed our student populations that had a first language of English, first language other than English. Also, I think there's a huge disconnect because when we talk about where do we put our money, again, when you create a department, you need to make sure that you have people there who specialize in who we're serving. The data points that we're talking about, remember we have our data monitoring meeting, we look at student populations, we look at students with disabilities with special education. We look at our emergent bilingual learners and look at how they're progressing. So the question is, to the superintendent and to the staff, when you're walking in, what is the expectation? What curriculum are we using? What outcomes are we expecting? And how are we engaging our parents where they are? If they don't feel connected to the district, then it's basically transferred through student performances, is transferred when we see them wanting more and asking questions like this. We are a diverse community and we have to be responsive to those needs. I am for hiring a superintendent who actually understands hiring people with diverse backgrounds, being able to address the concerns that we have, and more so than not, I spoke to making sure that our students are improving their language proficiency, and that's what the linguistic is. They wanted to make sure that proficiency was increasing over year. They'll never test out as their first language, but we should see progression towards them being proficient in the English language. I love that. Very good.
Ajua and I, in the daytime, we're professional moms. And so we were not presented these questions. We did not write these questions. And so that's why she couldn't pronounce that word. So, yeah. We just get paid to smile. You know, I'm reminded of Connie Williams. She ran for the school board with this question. You've emphasized restoring strong governance and clearer roles on the board. Given that you previously served, what specifically would you do differently this time to ensure alignment, accountability, and consistent decision-making among members of the board?
I would say a good coach plays back their own tape, right? They replay the tape. And so I always have to replay the tape on my own performance. I think that's how you get better. You look at things that you said, you did. You're able to reflect on those. You're able to address those out loud, repair the harm if there was harm done. But when I look at moving differently, one thing I've always said is that there has been some disappointment that I've carried that we did not fulfill what the community asked us to do, and that was to find an experienced superintendent. An experienced superintendent, which means one had been seated, not doing the work. I think at any point an educator does the work. There's a person who sat in a seat who understood what DeSoto was actually moving into. And then being able to have the real conversations behind closed doors about what integrity looks like, what it is that we said we would do, and being willing to stand on business if we choose not to. So we should be able to communicate that to the community as to why, instead of just supporting blindly. So many times I feel like there was trust given to people without the accountability and the results. And so this time around, I want to make sure that my votes are proven through results, that we can see the data that aligns to what they're going to do, and having a 90-day plan, ensuring that these are the things that are leading to the outcomes that we want. And I think just differently ensure that more community members are involved. We can't keep going when we get great, people disappear, and when things are bad, everyone appears. It's too late. It's the autopsy. We want you here to triage. Hold us accountable to the triage so that we can do what you're asking us to do before it's too late.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Dr. Fleming. Loving that. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming out here and sharing your vision for the school board and giving all the voters a chance to hear from you. And I think that it's very important because the children are our future. And we really want to be that light and that beacon to show them that they have, that they are in a position to excel and to seek that American dream. So thank you so much for being here, Carl.
No, ditto, thank you so much. We are on a time schedule, so we have to move to the city council.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm going to so on place 5 and ask for your vote. Thank you.
All right, so if we can get all of our city council candidates. Let's see. I'd like to go over the rules to ensure that we have a fair and respectful discussion. All questions for tonight were either submitted by DeSoto residents or developed from candidate responses in the voter guide. If you have additional questions, we would encourage you to visit candidate tables after the debate or contact them directly. The order of responses will rotate. Candidates will be called by name when it is their turn to respond. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question. The opposing candidate will have 1 minute to rebut if they so choose. The original candidate will then have 1 minute to respond and close it out. If no rebuttal is given, we will move directly to the next question. We ask that all candidates remain respectful and focus on the issue.
And we'd also like to make it very clear that emerging leaders of DeSoto nor either of the moderators are or have endorsed any of the candidates here individually. With no further delay, we will get started with the 2026 candidates for City Council, starting with place 2. Candidates, please take. They've already taken their place. You don't have to tell them. So, yes, they are. We have 2 candidates present this evening, and an additional candidate in this race is Dr. Cora Gardner. Shared her apologies that she had a prior work obligation that she was unable to join us tonight. So good to see Judge Jones, Mike Jones, in the back there. If there are any other elected officials that came in, who? Mike? All right. First Lady. All right, so we're going to start, we're going to first start with introductions, questions. Mrs. I knew you as Kate is good. How do you pronounce your name now? Pardon me, Sid? Could you lift up?
It's like a song, Aluale.
Formerly Kane, I'm Tamirian Aluale.
Aluale. You got rhythm?
That's how I remember. That's how she told me, Aluale.
Okay. Okay, candidates for this portion. Want to thank also Councilwoman Parker. And I'm going to start with you with your introduction first, and then we will go to Mrs. Aluale.
Thank you, and good evening, DeSoto.
Good evening.
My name is Brett Parker, and I'm sitting on the ballot, but I'm also a sitting council member. And many of you probably already know that I have been working in this city. I've been working in this city well before I took the council seat. But again, I have 23 years in the city of DeSoto, and I'm here to serve you. I've been serving you. I'm rerunning, I'm sorry, let me make sure I'm clear. I'm rerunning to build on the successes that we've already achieved. But I want to embrace accountability through.
Time.
Oh, it's on.
You get 30 seconds introduction.
Council. Okay.
I'm just the messenger.
All right.
And Mrs. Aloy, 30 seconds.
That's a lot of pressure. So let me speak quickly. I'm Tommy Lulule. I'm running for city council place number 2. I have 28 years of public service and public safety experience. I'm running because the citizens have not heard from their leader, and I'm running on more accountability as well as infrastructure and public safety issues.
Thank you. Councilwoman Parker, what are you willing to do in a second term to combat the alleged appearance? No, I'm sorry, the appearance of personal disdain amongst council members and managers. We didn't write the questions, we're just saying.
2 minutes.
These are all DeSoto
2
resident
minutes.
questions.
Okay, so first and foremost, the apparent disdain actually didn't start with this council. It has been there before. But part of what I'm willing to do and have been doing is making sure that transparency is at the top of mind. I've been doing this on that council because we have things we have to do in the city. And if you all, as the community, as well as me, I live here just like you do. I want to make certain that you know why we do what we do, because it's your tax dollars like it's mine. So to me, I believe that's the way we're going to go, is going straight to it. Make sure we're actually being honest with one another and being honest with you all. Because I don't want it to just look good, I want it to be good.
All right, and remember during this portion, if you want to, you have 1 minute to rebuttal and you have another minute to respond. So keep that in mind. All right, Ms. Alulale, what specific experience do you have in making decisions with real financial or policy consequences?
Thank you for the question. What experience I have for making real decisions when it comes to finances or policies. Again, I mentioned the 28 years experience in public safety and public service that I have. Everything we do affects finances when it pertains to the public and how we serve. We serve them ill will, it costs money. It costs not only the citizens, it costs the state, it costs the city and the county. The other part of that question, I enforce policies every day on the local level, on the county level, and on the state level.
I'd like to rebut. Okay, so what I do is, I want everybody to know that what I do. I'm an actual HOA manager. I own an HOA management company. HOAs are built exactly like cities are built. The management company is the city manager, the board is the actual council, and the actual community, the people who live there are like you all, just like me. We're members of this community. So I deal with financing all the time, budgets every end of the year, as well as what I do on the council. So I've had action in the cities, in the actual communities, the subdivisions, as well as in the entirety of the city. So that's where my experience comes from.
All right, would you like to? Yes. Go ahead.
So expounding on my experience, and I don't like to bring up this, but I am part of Eastern Star Organization. I was once their treasurer. I'm also, I also started my own foundation to influence young kids, youth, that I'm now trying to get my 503c3, 501c3. I also used to be a massage therapist, and I ran my own business as a massage therapist for almost 20 years.
All right, thank you for that. Thank you for the question. All right, Ms. Parker, in the voter's guide, you selected building trust, thriving economy, and engaging community. As priorities for the city council business plan, how should residents measure whether you've been successful in these areas during your current term?
Well, I'm going to piggyback on a question that came first that said, how do we get the disdain out? Well, first we got to get the trust back. And that will actually tackle the actual disdain that people see, because you will see results. We will be making decisions. Now, keep in mind, we have already made some good decisions as well as some bad ones, but I believe the first and foremost, building trust is going to get the community seeing that we are doing with their tax dollars what they want us to do. So the stewardship is how I'm going to do it. And that's going to show you that I'm the right council member. I've been doing it thus far, and I plan to continue to do it. So I would like to ask for your vote on that one. Thank you.
All right, we ready to move on? Would you like to respond?
Yes, thank you for allowing me to respond to that. I have been engaging, first of all, I am a community person. I have a motto that says, the community raised me so I can serve them. I have been in the community for 28 some years. And since I've been here in DeSoto, I'm constantly talking to the community, and in dealing with the community is you have to talk to them. You have to get feedback from them. Tell me what I'm doing. Tell me what you need. And so this is how I engage the community. So it's not really about me. This seat is not mine. This is y'all's seat. And so when I talk to you, I want to know what it is you need.
Thank you. Ms. Ololowen, I've been told that city council is very demanding, more demanding than many may think. Considering your career, if the role demands more time than expected, are you prepared to adjust your personal or professional commitments? And what would that look like? And thank you for your service.
Thank you. And thank you for your service. Thank you for that question. I've already dedicated my life to public service and public safety. I get up every day ready to serve. I go to however long the day takes me, whatever task I have to do, whatever comes up at the last minute, I make sure I'm there. So this is something that I have been doing for years. Unfortunately, my kids, my family know that about me. So I forget some, they like, well, we over here, and I check on them and I'm like, okay, y'all good. But they understand. They understand my role as a public service servant. And so they allow me to do what I do, and they support it. So whatever the task is, I'm ready for it. I've been doing it for a long time.
And Councilwoman Parker, this is a new question, so we're going to shift, sort of paradigm shift here. The term affordable housing can sometimes carry a negative perception in communities. How would you approach expanding housing affordability in DeSoto in a way that maintains neighborhood quality, protects property values, and addresses residents' concerns?
How would I expand I'm sorry, say the question one more time, I'm sorry.
Really?
Yes. It's like you asked 3 questions. It's a loaded question.
The term affordable housing can sometimes carry a negative perception in communities. How would you approach expanding housing affordability in DeSoto in a way that maintains neighborhood quality, protects property values, and addresses residents' concerns?
Okay, so right now, the word affordable housing does have a negative connotation, primarily when it goes into LIHTC. LIHTC is the low-income housing taxing committee, and they actually are the ones that will put on the 4% or the 9% to make it a voucher system. That's where the negativity comes from. But in my perspective, affordable housing is in making it easier for people to get into houses. So I believe that anybody who wants a home should have an opportunity, and the city could put in something where you're giving an actual amount for people to be able to get into the home the same way that everybody else does. They just get an extra incentive to get into that home. And so I believe that that's something that the city can put in place and begin pretty much when we make the decision as far as the policy.
Thank you for your thoughtful answer. I've just got to say, cities have a huge responsibility for this, but the state of Texas has not done a good job. We passed HB 1925 that outlawed homelessness in Texas. That same day, I was there on the House floor. Our prayer was the Lord's Prayer Sermon on the Mount, or Matthew chapter 6. If we had just turned 2 chapters over, we would have found the one who we call as our Savior in Matthew 8:20, saying, "Foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Where does a homeless person get $500 to pay a citation for being homeless? So, thank you. That wasn't scripted. But, you know, we've lost our humanity.
Yes.
Because we don't like what we see on the streets. And this is all stemming from policy. Over 700,000 people in America are homeless, and that's not counting the 4 million who live in extended stay hotels. This is our responsibility, and Jesus has already told us, I know, Pastor, I'm not going to do a sermon. Okay, I'm not going to do a sermon, but Jesus gave 6 things when he comes back. He's going to say, I was hungry, you fed me, I was thirsty, you gave me drink. Anyway, he said, anyway. So thank you for that answer. Ajua, help me.
I don't know how to come back from that. Okay, reel it on in. All right, that was good. All right. Okay, this question is for. Okay. As this race includes a city council member, what makes you the better choice to represent the community moving forward?
Thank you for that question. I think what makes me the better candidate moving forward is because I understand that you have to reach the people where the people are. And so I'm willing to go where the people are, first of all. Secondly, I have the experience already with community. I have the experience with government. The same people that, most of these people that are in the room, I've already collaborated with over the past years. And I am not afraid to make tough decisions. I'm not afraid to make decisions for the people that I represent. I have been doing that. I make critical decisions on a daily basis. But I take that I don't take that lightly. I don't want to start a sermon either, but I take God everywhere I go. God is the head and of everything I do, and I try to use humanity in everything I do when it comes to serving the people.
Ms. Parker, would you like to respond? I would, and from an HOA perspective, I'm an HOA manager. I deal with people every day. I deal with their issues right where they live, because I believe once you actually tackle some of the smaller challenges for 1 or 2 people, it just flows through the city. You're working with not just one, you're working with a whole subdivision. People know that I've been in the community. People who ask me questions, my phone is always on. My daughter just said, you need to have some office hours because your phone is always ringing and you're always on it. But I make myself available. I've been available. I talk to the people not only at council meetings, but I'm actually out in the community. I work with my HOAs, the people that sit in homes, and I am accessible. I am that candidate.
Would you like to respond?
Thank you. Let me just point out that in my current service, there's 29 cities in Dallas County. Out of those 29 cities, I have served 15, in one including DeSoto. So I have served the people in DeSoto. My experience is always in the community. And let me point out that the Walmart that you all see, I was one of the residents along with a group that protested that Walmart initially because of the location they were trying to put it in, that it did not fit our community. With that pushback with City Council, with the cries and the walks that we did, although it seems that we lost on one end, we won on another, because they agreed to make the specifications as it is now with the peaks and the roofing that it has to match our neighborhood. They also decided to put up.
Okay, we will now move to, thank you, that was very smooth. we will have questions for the candidates to respond. No rebuttals, okay? And we're going to start with Ms. Parker. These two questions are going to come from the audience. So you have an opportunity to participate, and the questions will come from the audience. Ajua, would you mind going out there and letting them speak?
Yeah, firsthand.
Oh, you got something?
No,
Okay,
it's for either candidate, they can ask questions for either candidate.
for either candidate.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Parker, for responding to the affordable housing question. I'd like to hear your answer about affordable housing.
Yes, and I believe the question was talking about the stigma on affordable housing and how it plays into our community. I agree with affordable housing. I believe that we all have to do our part in making sure that there is affordable housing. But affordable housing doesn't mean it has to look cheap, okay? And so I have not forgotten where I came from. Sometimes I have to go to Goodwill or to something a little bit discounted to make it, to do whatever I need to do to care for my family. So we can make the specifications, as I pointed out with Walmart. There are specifications that will bring about pride, whether you own affordable housing or whatever you can afford, and or if it's a higher dollar amount. So I totally agree with affordable housing and support that policy.
Does anybody have a question?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, candidates, for sitting with us to answer our questions. My name is Tricia Patterson. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas and a strong mental health advocate. Everywhere I am, I'm always talking about mental health. And so my question for both of the candidates today, what concrete steps will you take to improve access to mental health services in our city, and how will you measure success?
Thank you for that question. And I actually have been working with the council. When I first came aboard, that was one of the things that I wanted to do, was create an actual health board, just like we have other council commissions, boards and commissions, and then you involve the Dallas County Health Advisory Board in those discussions so that we can begin talking through the people who are needing our assistance, that is sitting in our city, and being able to take them and do what needs to be done in order to, how do you get to a person that needs that kind of help? You start talking through those steps. And that, I believe if we get the right people at the table, we can actually figure out how to make those services available. But right now, there's no conversations being had. So from a step perspective, I would like to get that in place where we start actually hearing from the community about mental health, letting them be a part of the process so that we can put something in place and be ready to serve.
All right. Thank you both. Do you want to respond?
Oh, I thought it, okay.
Yeah, for both? Okay.
So let me say that I'm currently a mental health certified with the profession that I do. I go out on mental illness, mental health calls. I even had an encounter with one of my neighbors that has a special needs child. And one of the things that I pointed out to her, even though we have the different resources like the care team and of course law enforcement, my success, or measuring that success, let me say this, is when we don't lose anybody. The second thing is I mentioned to her, contact your agency, your law enforcement agency. Let them know about your special needs child. So when they have to encounter them, we won't lose that child. And so that's how I measure success, is when we don't lose somebody.
All right. Well, thank you both for taking out the time and share your vision with the voters. That's going to include our Q&A for City Council candidates place 2. So thank you very much, ladies. If we can have place 4 come forward. So candidates, you will be allowed a 30-second introduction before we get started with the questions. David Ederson, you may begin.
Good evening. Thank you, Emerging Leaders of DeSoto, for sponsoring this forum. I'm truly grateful to be here before the citizens of DeSoto. My name is David Ederson, and I'm running for City Council in Place 4 here in the great city of DeSoto, Texas. Since I only have a few seconds, I'll just let you know that I am a retired educator of 32 years who have worked from starting as a substitute teacher on to becoming a principal and then going on to the central office level of being a special education director. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nixon. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Keisha Nixon, and I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And I took notes because I am anxious to get my message out and have the opportunity to tell everyone why I'm running for office. Good evening again. And you know, I wanted to be part of the change that I want to see in this community. For several years, I've shared concerns with our city council through emails and conversations. Many of those concerns went unanswered.
Time.
Okay.
You can come back to it, Ms. Nixon.
Very well. Mr. Edgerson, you've emphasized transparency and fiscal accountability as a top concern. Can you give a specific example of a recent city decision where you believe transparency was lacking and how you would have handled that differently?
Certainly. Thank you so much for asking that question. Well, it's a sore subject, but we don't run from the truth. The decision to acquire the Thorntree Country Club has occurred in what seems to be shrouded in mystery. So from my perspective, it's not even about whether or not to purchase it or not, if that was a good decision. That is not my concern. My concern is the citizens were not aware. Many citizens feel like they did not have adequate input. Also, there's a lot of misinformation and or disinformation that has gone forward regarding the same. Some people knew about leasing the property. Some citizens were aware, whereas other citizens were not aware. And my question is, why is it that only certain people know certain things that's going on within the city? So that's just one example.
And how would you handle it differently? How would you have handled it?
The way I would have handled it differently is make sure that all of the citizens are aware that this is a property that we are considering acquiring. We want your feedback. We want your input. We will make sure we have opportunities, more than one opportunity in different venues, in different formats so that citizens can give their input.
Could you show us how that looks?
Certainly. So for instance, there could be an advertisement that goes out in print and digital media. Also, information can go out in water bills to let citizens know on this date and at this time and at this venue, we will be discussing the acquisition of a certain piece of property. For those who cannot make it at this time, we want to make it available for other citizens because not everyone works a regular 9-to-5 schedule. We're in a different environment. We'll also have the same opportunity during another venue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Nixon, would you like to respond?
I agree with Mr. Edgerson. There are several activities that the city council has partaken in that have basically shut the citizens of this city out. And we're in the dark, we don't know what's going on. I agree that Thorntree is a very big issue and it is one of the pressing concerns that I have. I live in Thorntree and people think that it's negative to criticize the acquisition of Thorntree. But the way that it was done, it wasn't transparent, it was done in the dark. There are limited people that are privy to exactly what's going on with this purchase. as I stated, I'm a resident there, I'm a homeowner, and we don't know what's going on. It's an 18-hole golf course, and it's rumored that it's going to turn into a 9-hole golf course with retail, hotels, and townhomes. And that's not what I agreed to at the closing table. And I believe that that's not what my neighbors.
Time.
All right, okay, Ms. Nixon, this next question is for you. So you've called for economic development that benefits the entire community. What does that look like in practice to you? And how would you ensure that development is balanced across all areas within DeSoto?
Again, I like to use Thorntree as an example. There are a lot of dilapidated areas in DeSoto. The Magazine Hotel off of 35 comes to mind. Now, the purchase and acquisition of Community Baptist Church, I know that the city paid $6 million for that property. I believe that that money would have been better spent and allocated towards acquiring that property and rebuilding it, it could be gold mine as far as an entertainment venue. We could have had white linen dining there. Now, the areas that are being neglected in DeSoto, Texas, I don't know whether people are aware of this, but the city leadership has attempted to acquire grants under the guise of Thorntree being an underserved community. And I'm offended by that. Thorntree is not an underserved community, and that money would be better allocated to areas that actually deserve it. We have potholes, we have neglected areas, we have low-income areas, and I don't believe that it's fair. And I would address that. That's how I would handle it, is that I actually would pour money into the areas of our city that actually need it. You know, instead of acquiring properties, we need to fix the infrastructure and address the areas that we already have.
Thank you for that. How would you like to respond, or?
I would just like to add to that by saying, in terms of economic development, we need to make sure that we are looking at all of our business citizens, from the small businessman or woman to the large warehousing people. We have incentives for large businesses, but we need to make sure that we develop an ecosystem of businesses so that our small businesses can feel appreciated and want to stay and grow. Because as they grow, then our economic tax base grows. So that's one way where I think if I'm addressing the question regarding economic development, I think that was the question. And then there's some things we can do in terms of housing, but I'll hold it.
Oh, my next, okay. All right, so we'll keep this going. We'll keep this on the road, Mr. Is it Ederson? Ederson, thank you. All right. You mentioned your intent to ask tough questions regarding city finances. What specific financial areas or decisions would you prioritize reviewing first, and what concerns you most about the current spending in DeSoto? Say it again. Okay, I'll slow it down. You mentioned your intent to ask tough questions regarding city finance. What specific financial areas or decisions would you prioritize reviewing first? And what concerns you most about the current spending in DeSoto?
Regarding prioritization of spending, we need to look at our budget in terms of priority-based budget. Does the budgeted items line up with the citizens' priorities? And do those priorities line up with our strategic plan, with our strategic goal, our business plan 2035? That's one of the things we need to make sure that there's an alignment. We just can't budget for items if it had nothing to do with the priority that the citizens wanted. The other part of the question, I'm trying to remember the question, but if you don't mind, I'm sorry.
Okay, the other part of it. Okay, so what would you prioritize? What do you want to review first?
So you started off with, I said I would ask the tough questions. I do not need to be in this seat if I'm afraid or timid or weak and will not address the tough questions. One of the questions would be, and I want you to understand me, I am not on the council and I'm not against the art. It's a beautiful facility and I plan to frequent it. However, I would have asked more questions in terms of, first of all, I believe we went from a $40 million price tag to 50 plus. Again, that's not the issue. The issue is, what do the citizens say regarding public safety? I have spoken to private citizens as well as businesses, and I know for a fact that there is a cry, there is a desire, there is a need for an additional fire station, which just so happens might cost in the same range of 50 million plus. I don't know if we should have built the ARC or a fire station, but I would have certainly made sure we addressed it to the end, to the hilt before we made a decision to build the ARC.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nixon.
Speak those things.
You spoke strongly about holding leadership accountable. What specific systems or policies would you implement to ensure accountability is measurable and not just a talking point?
Okay, well, as it pertains to the police department, we do have a Citizens Police Advisory Commission that's in place, oh yes. But I believe that it should be disbanded because it does not serve its purpose. And I believe that we need to put an oversight board in place with subpoena power. We do have issues, serious issues with the police, and I am pro-police, but I am pro-ethical and pro-community policing. We need the police department, but we have had some problematic officers and issues with the police department. Now, as far as the city governance, I believe that we need an ethics commission. And I believe that there needs to be punitive measures put in place when there are policies and mandates that have been violated. Because at the current time, I feel as if we don't have any governance, none at all, that they don't respect the community, that they don't listen to our voices, that it's basically a self-serving body, So I do believe that there needs to be an oversight board put in place, and we need the ethics commission to bring the reins in on the mayor's position. I won't point her out specifically, and the city council. I hope I answered that question. I probably forgot the second part.
Yeah, you gave a pretty comprehensive answer.
Thank you.
Mr. Edgerton, you've said you want more unified city council. You want a more unified city council. In a setting where disagreements are inevitable, how would you balance unity with the need to challenge decisions you may disagree with? Yes. Mr. David Anderson.
Yes, sir. So first of all, civility is the order of the day.
Yes.
I think someone said earlier that we have lost our humanity, and we have got to get it back. Though we have 57,000 plus residents, we're still a somewhat small city when you think of large metroplexes. We're too great of a city to be divided and to fall apart. So to that end, one of the things in my career as an educator dealing with tough decisions for our states, the children. And I want to be clear, I did not only serve children, I served families, because when we made possibilities happen for children, it elevated the whole family. So in saying that, I've learned the art of diplomacy. If I'm sitting on the dais with someone, or even talking to a citizen, though we may have differing viewpoints, it's important for me to, metaphorically speaking, because this is nonpartisan, reach across the aisle, try to understand that other person's viewpoint. Where are they coming from? Why do they feel that way? And it may enlighten me and open up a whole new world of thought for me. And then I'll do the same. And together, I feel like we, as civilized people, and people who really have the same mission, the same goal, a beautiful DeSoto, a DeSoto that's so great, a great place to live, and where there's so much to love, I think we can come to some amicable. And it's never a win-loss. It should always be a win-win solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Nixon, I know you're very, very passionate about this. What direct experience, knowledge, or skills do you have that can translate into success as a council member if elected?
Well, just life skills of being a mother, a wife, a citizen, a survivor. We are faced with challenges throughout life where we have to step up to the plate. And I believe that challenges that I have faced throughout my life personally, challenges that my children have faced medically. I have a son that has end-stage renal disease. When he was getting matched for a kidney, he only matched 1% of the country's population. So as a mother, being mama bear, I did what I had to do. When you see a problem, you have to go out and solve it. So as far as being equipped with a skill set, I believe that I have the problem-solving skills, again, that I have acquired just through life. I have a nonprofit called Black Butterfly that serves survivors and families dealing with domestic violence. I have a political action committee that supports candidates that are progressive in the southern sector of Dallas. And I've always been involved politically. I'm currently a precinct chair here in the city and, well, not the city, state, county, or whatever. But just dealing with life, dealing with issues that I've had to overcome. Again, I'm a very fierce fighter. I'm a problem solver. I'm not afraid to speak up. I'm not afraid to advocate for myself and for others. I go out and I seek solutions to problems. I'm not afraid to fight the machine. I'm not afraid to speak truth to power. And I believe in it.
Thank you to both of you. Thank you for signing up to run. Because so often you have to deal with accusations that may not be true about you, about your families, but you have signed up to run and represent your community. At this time, we will have questions for both candidates to respond, no rebuttals. I'm getting messages right now as we speak.
Do we have time for a question?
Yes, for the audience.
Okay,
Yes.
does anybody in the audience have a question? Okay, I saw a hand go up.
And would you give your name and before you ask your question?
Hello, I'm Jayla Gabo again, running for Justice of the Peace, Dallas County 1-2. I wanted Mr. Edgerson to answer the question that she asked about the experience. What makes you suitable for the position?
Thank you for the opportunity to respond to that question. Well, I'll say this, resiliency and fight. Those are two adjectives that describe me. what has prepared me for this seat started back in my hometown of Chicago, where I grew up, where I was pushed out of high school, where I sat on my mother's couch watching The Price of Right and All My Children. Y'all remember Luke and Lola?
Yeah.
Angie and Jesse? All right. But I decided I didn't want to go out like that, forgive the term. So I got back in school, and I went to an alternative high school, graduated #1 in my class, and so today I stand as a high school push-out in the class valedictorian. I didn't stop there. I came to Texas without all intentions of going back to Chicago. But Texas was so good to me. And I attended the greatest university.
Time.
Yeah. It was on 30 seconds.
You have 1 minute.
That's the time, I don't argue with the time.
You had more time at the university, but you don't here. Each of you spoke about improving engagement and rebuilding trust with residents. What would you do differently than what is currently being done to ensure residents not only feel heard, but see their input reflected in actual decisions? And that will be our final question tonight for both of you. And then we will warmly thank you again.
1 minute.
1 minute, 60 seconds.
Okay, well, I do not work outside of the house. So me personally, to have a line of communication with the citizens, because that's part of the reason why I'm sitting here, is because I have not communicated with the person who represents me. He won't even respond to my emails, calls, or anything. Now, I would like to have office hours. I would like to have office hours to engage face-to-face with the residents. And I would also follow up with a written reply email. And I would like to have some type of citywide, maybe like in each place, maybe a delegate in each area that the particular citizens could contact, that I could be in constant contact with. But basically, yes, engagement is very important, it's vital. I want to stay connected to my citizens.
Thank you. I'm trying to talk as fast as I can. But I think making ourselves available as council people, I think is very, very important. I would do things such as obviously have town hall meetings, quarterly town hall meetings, and more should it be necessary, especially if there's a hot button subject that cannot wait to the next quarter. Newsletters, emails, digital media. I believe in going out into the neighborhood. I am retired. I have all the time in the world. I want to serve you and I will serve you. And I have the opportunity to do that. So whether we have coffee at the local coffee house, or whether we sit down in your house and you cook dinner, I heard that, or whether I invite you into my home. My phone number is 469-377-0813. I'm not hard to find. I'm quiet, but I tell you what, when I believe in taking care of business.
Time.
Thank you. That concludes our Q&A with candidates for both DeSoto City Council and the school board. And that tonight we are coming to a close. Prior to doing that, I do want to recognize former Mayor Pro Tem Patricia Ledbetter. Former Mayor Pro Tem Denise Valentine. I saw a former council member for Dallas in the audience. Have you moved to DeSoto? You know, you shouldn't put me on the spot. Kevin Felder from Dallas. Councilman Felder, have you moved to DeSoto? I'm not ready to reveal. Okay.
We also have another candidate in the house that just came in. If you want to stand up and introduce yourself and tell us what you're running for, Fred.
I'm Fred Van Loo. I am running for Justice of the Peace for 1 year in DeSoto, and I would love to have you call me. I'll leave some of these that has my phone number, etc. I'll have a cup of coffee with anyone here. And I'm semi-retired, working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week right now.
Thank you. We have another
school board member.
Hey, Cooper Jr.
I know who you are. I was just doing that for councilman back there. Go ahead.
I'm Eddie Cooper Jr. I'm currently place 5 candidate, but I'm also the incumbent. I'm currently serving on the DeSoto ISD School Board, and I would love to have your vote, and it's nice to meet everyone. It's good to see a great turnout for this great event.
Thank you.
Is that it? Is it time to go home?
Yeah, it's already time to go home. It's 8:07. We're going to turn it over to DeSoto Emerging Leaders.
All right.
Thomas Jones. Thank you all for coming tonight, and to our candidates and to our moderators. If you don't already, please visit the candidate tables, take some information, do your research. This QR code that's here, this goes to our voters guide. It has the city council and school board questionnaire responses in there, as well as information on the runoff candidates. Election, early voting starts Monday, guys. So make sure you get out there, make a plan to vote, and thank you for coming.